Good morning and welcome to those listening and watching. Have a cup of coffee and join us for a little bit here. It's March the 7th. There are 300 days left in the year. Let's have a scripture to start us off, shall we? Psalm 25, verse 20 says, "Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee." We trust in the Lord and we thank you all for being here. Hit a thumbs up, a like on the channel, or subscribe to it if you're new here. Share this with a friend. If you're reading the Bible in a year, Deuteronomy chapter 1 to 3, and in Mark chapter 10, verses 32 to 52. Here's your thoughts for the day. Wise men talk because they have something to say. Fools talk because they have to say something. If you can dream it, you can do it. And that's a quote from Walt Disney, obviously a few others. The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. So aim high and aim to rise to meet the Lord in the air. Motivation for the day. The privilege of prayer is one of the most cherished possessions because faith and experience alike convince me that God himself sees and answers, and his answers I never venture to criticize. It is only my part to ask. On this day in history, a couple of quick ones. 1530, King Henry VIII's divorce request is denied by Pope Henry. And then he declares that he, not the Pope, is the supreme head of England's church. In 1854, Charles Miller patents the first U.S. sewing machine to stitch buttonholes. In 1933, a favorite, the game of Monopoly is invented. In 1962, the Beatles make their broadcasting debut on BBC Radio. In 1975, the U.S. performs nuclear tests in the Nevada test site. And in 1996, the first surface photos of Pluto are photographed by the Hubble Space Telescope. Pluto, formerly a planet, now just an asteroid circling the sun. Here's a personal story for today. Colossians 1:9 says, "For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to desire that you might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding." And for references, we look into Proverbs 30, verses 1 to 33. And it's the prayer of Agar, and it's recorded in today's verse. It's clearly a prayer that urges us to cease from sin, especially arrogance. This section begins with a desperate plea for wisdom because of the profound limits of human understanding. Humility is crucial for pursuing wisdom and receiving instruction. The response to this plea begins with God's perfect word and a twofold prayer focusing on honesty and humility. The person praying wants to be spared from circumstances that would damage his character by enticing him to either arrogance or thievery. The exhortation against slander precedes 4 verses describing arrogance and insolence. Each of these mini portraits is the opposite of God's character. This is followed by an almost comic picture of the leech's twin daughters. Like a blood-sucking leech, greed drains the life from a person. The following 4 images, however, are anything but funny. They show that a greedy appetite is insatiable and tragic. The rest of the chapter contains 4 sets of proverbs, each comparing 4 things. The number 4 may indicate the universal nature of the observations. First, we begin with the 4 things that cause us to marvel. In sharp contrast to the natural way of these wonders is the unnatural way of the adulteress. Second, we find 4 situations that are universally feared. Third, we find 4 things that appear to be weak, but in reality are remarkable. Ants, as we spoke about earlier, know how to provide for themselves. Conies, or small rock badgers, are known how to shelter themselves. Locusts know how to organize themselves, and lizards or spiders, depending on your translation, can find their way into palaces. The final group of 4 are those who move with stately dignity. These all natural things that cause wonder are unnatural things that cause horror. The concluding verses suggest that the arrogance and evil are unnatural and produce undesirable results. Agur's prayer for integrity and humility is essential for our pursuit of wisdom. Without purity of heart, we are unable to perceive truth rightly. Without humility, we are unable to see our need for truth. Here's some devotional thoughts for today. During Antarctica's 9-month winter, the continent is engulfed in darkness and the temperatures sink to minus 82 degrees Celsius. Flights are halted from late February to November, leaving workers at scattered research stations isolated and virtually cut off from the outside help. Yet in 2001, 2 daring rescue missions penetrated the polar winter and airlifted people with serious medical conditions to safety. We all feel helpless and cut off at times, particularly now during the pandemic. But it may seem that God can't even hear us or answer our cries for help. The psalmist David said, "In a time of trouble, I am cut off from before your eyes." Psalm 31, verse 22. But David's discovery that the Lord had not forgotten him, and he rejoiced. "Nevertheless, thou heard my voice and of my supplications when I cried unto thee." What circumstances make you feel helpless or hopeless today? Obviously, a lot of us have been facing lockdowns and strict restrictions, not able to fellowship face to face. Thankfully, through Zoom, through YouTube, we're able to have these opportunities to reach out and find each other. But whatever it is, there might be other circumstances or somebody listening to this at another time. It could be poor health, broken relationships, a family member in great need. In Jesus Christ, God has penetrated the dark winter of our world in a daring rescue through his redeeming love. He is therefore able to reach us and calm our fears in the most desperate circumstances. Give him a chance and share to others in desperate need of hope. There is hope of a rescue through Jesus. We are never cut off from the mighty power of sustaining peace of God. Others may tempt us, or others may want to cut off God. And there have been many efforts, and that really is a state of the sadness that we see in the world. If people follow the word of God and come and accept the love that he has for us, they will truly find their rescue mission as his love grows inside each and every one of us. Well, if you look at John 15, verse 7, "If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you." As a child, we always wanted surprises, whether it was a candy, a toy from the shop, or perhaps a trip to our grandparents, Disneyland, whatever it is. It doesn't take too much to make a child happy. But as we grow older, the cost of surprises seem to be more and more. It comes to the point most surprises don't excite us anymore. Oh, another birthday. Oh, another present. Oh, okay. But the flowers might lose their smell and they become limp in a few days. The gift is never the right kind of chocolate. The clothes never fit. And who gets cards anymore? Or if you do get cards, they end up in the recycle bin pretty quickly. Remember that special person surprising you with a phone call, asking you for a date. Now that special person is your spouse, and the romantic thoughts have gone out with the job, the kids, the house cleaning, the dirty dishes, the lawn mowing, the bills eat up available cash. So there's no room to buy surprises. Well, Dad has endless surprises. He wants you to come to him, abide in him, and the surprises are yours for the asking. He loves you more than anyone could ever love you. His tenderness goes beyond all that we can show to each other. He says, "Come sit beside me. Let me love you." And you will never end. You will never experience his ending love. "And I will give you your dreams and the desires of your heart and be with you always." What a better surprise than to have him show up when you most need comforting. He will never leave us or forsake us. And it is an unlimited supply of love that he has for us. Well, that's it for today. We've got a couple of fun facts and a joke. If you want to stick around, remember to subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend, and we thank you all for those that continue to join us. The primary purpose of growing rice in flooded paddies is to drown the weeds surrounding the young seedlings. Rice can, in fact, be grown in drained areas. And camels are the only animals with humps. Got milk? Well, camels can produce up to 600 liters of milk a year. Camels can close their nostrils, obviously helpful in deserts. Camels can eat just about anything. In fact, when camels are really hungry and there's no food around, they won't think twice about gobbling up people's tents, sandals, or blankets. There you go. Think about that. Here's your closing thought. Sin has many tools, but a lie is the handle which fits them all. Well, thank you all for coming. I got a final joke and a riddle if you want to stick around or turn off the video. The riddle is, why do windows squeak when you open them? Why do windows squeak when you open them? Stick around after the joke. So there's this 85-year-old couple, and they've been married for 60 years and loving each other, having a wonderful life, and they died in a car crash. Now, they've been in good health the last 10 years, mainly due to their interest in healthy foods and exercise, regularly going to the gym, riding bikes, and really watching what they eat. Well, when they reached the pearly gates, they met the person that was going to check them in, and he had a nice, beautiful Cadillac that took them up to their brand new beachfront property with a jacuzzi overlooking the sea. Well, the man kind of said, well, gee, this is really nice. Ooh, but how much is going to set you back? Well, the concierge says, well, absolutely nothing. This is free. In fact, you keep the Cadillac. In fact, in the back of the Cadillac, there's a set of golf clubs because you've got a membership at the golf club. So, well, really? How much is that going to set us back? Well, nothing. It's free. This is heaven. So they go over to the golf club and he says, come on in. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet right now. So they go in and it's very lovely. And of course, it's not far from their home, but it's got everything. It's got steak, meat, salads, and then he says you should see the dessert tray. And they go over there, and there's all kinds of chocolate and wonderful things. He says, "Beautiful. Eat anything you want. You won't gain a pound because this is heaven, and you don't have to worry about any calories or anything like that." Well, with that, the man he loses it. He throws his hat in the ground, starts having a fit, and the concierge is trying to calm him down, and his wife comes over. Dear, what's wrong? What's wrong? He says, oh, if it wasn't for you and those low-fat brownies, I could have been here 10 years ago. So back to our riddle. Why do windows squeak when you open them? Answer, because they have panes. Ouch, panes, get it? All right, that's all I have. Thank you very much, and God bless.